Welcome back to the Deep Dive. So, right now, the tectonic plates of professional football are just shifting constantly.
They really are.
It is officially coaching carousel season, and we are seeing a level of movement of, seismic turnover that feels different this year.
That's exactly right. And our mission today is to cut through some of that noise. We've pulled a bunch of sources articles on these shocking departures, deep dives on what makes a team work.
Right.
And we're really trying to find the signal in all the chaos, helping you understand not just who is moving, but, why the actual rules of coaching seem to be changing right under our feet.
And before we dive into the NFL chaos, we actually have a quick little nugget from the source material that's about soccer, of all things.
Yeah, a little surprising, but it's a great piece of context. It was just a brief mention about Burnley, one of the top 20 English teams, and they needed to beat Crystal Palace. And it's not some huge historic rivalry, but the point is, when you're one of only 20, every single game against a peer it's massive for survival.
It's a great reminder. Whether you're fighting to stay in the Premier League or you're fighting for a playoff spot in the AFC, the goal is always the same.
Mm-hmm.
But for our deep dive today, the conversation is really about the people leading that charge. And right now, that pool of great leaders seems startlingly shallow.
Okay, so let's start with the story that sent the biggest shockwave through the league. Mike Tomlin stepping down from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
I mean, even if you heard the whispers, the moment it actually happened, the finality of it, it was just stunning.
Stunning is the perfect word, and mainly because of the history there, right? The Steelers organization has only had 3 head coaches in the last 55 years.
3. That's it. That level of continuity, that stability, it just doesn't exist anywhere else in sports. For that to break, it changes everything.
It says so much about their culture, which clearly value that consistency. And that's Tomlin's legacy, isn't it? The consistency.
It is. We have to highlight this one fact. He never had a losing season.
Never.
To do that for that long in the absolute meat grinder of the modern NFL, it's almost an impossible feat.
And the immediate impact was felt, instantly. We looked at the numbers. With Tomlin gone across the entire AFC North, there's only 1 head coach left from the start of last season.
1. That is a massive ripple effect. It's completely transformed one of the toughest, most stable divisions in the league overnight.
So this feeds right into that classic debate about a long-tenured coach, right? Did his message just go stale?
It always comes up, but our sources argue that consistency is, it's the bedrock of greatness. The problem isn't usually the message itself.
It's the results, or maybe the players just tuning it out after hearing it for the 10th time.
Exactly. But what's so interesting is the potential solution. You take a coach like Tomlin, you move him to a new city.
And suddenly, that message he's been preaching for 17 years is heard by a room full of guys who have never heard it before.
And it can immediately reshape an entire organization. That fresh start is powerful.
So what about his future? It sounds like he's not looking to coach this year.
Yeah, the consensus seems to be he's taking a step back. The sources suggest his situation might look a lot like Bill Cowher's, the Steelers coach before him.
Right, he stepped away, went into media, and seemed to realize, hey, not having people call for your head every Sunday is pretty nice.
Oh, it's pretty sweet, yeah. And both of them are expected to be great on TV, which really just points to another skill they had to master: communication. You have to be a master communicator to lead a team for that long.
For sure. But for the rest of the league, these jobs need to be filled. And this is where we hit the real crisis.
The scarcity of talent. It's profound. There just are not enough good coaches or coordinators or even top-tier position coaches to fill all these jobs.
Which brings us to the core of it all. What even is a modern head coach? The league seems to be hunting for this CEO type. And it's way more than just X's and O's.
Oh, absolutely. The job is basically managing a multi-million-dollar corporation. Our sources broke it down into about 6 key characteristics.
Okay.
Number 1, the ability to relate to everybody on the roster, not just the star quarterback.
Not just your captains. You mean the practice squad guy, the last man on the roster.
Exactly. A true CEO coach knows every person contributes to the culture. If you lose the bottom of the roster, you eventually lose the whole thing.
Okay, so what's number 2?
They have to articulate a vision for the entire building. The trainers, the front office, even the cafeteria staff. Everyone needs to know how their job fits into the big picture.
And 3 and 4 are sort of linked, right? It's about setting the standard and then actually living up to it yourself.
That's the crucial part. If the head coach is seen being lackadaisical, the whole building gets lazy. That little bit of rot can sink a team over a whole season.
The fifth one is fascinating to me because it feels a little counterintuitive today.
Yeah.
You can't try to be everybody's friend.
No. You have to be tough. You have to be willing to have the hard conversations that make people better, even if it creates a little friction in the moment.
Which all leads to the last point, number 6, which might be the most important. It's this mix of high emotional intelligence, EQ, and just massive energy.
Yeah, that juice, as they call it. You need the EQ to handle all the egos in a modern locker room, and you need the football IQ, of course.
It takes a really robust personality to manage not just star players, but also a staff full of ambitious coaches who all think they should have your job.
And that gets us to the big debate. Should that CEO also be the play caller?
Right. You have guys like Andy Reid or Sean McVay who are brilliant at both.
They're exceptions, but they still operate as CEOs first. The problem is, being a CEO takes time away from the deep game planning.
Which is why so many coaches try to delegate it. But then you run into the continuity problem. I mean, look at the Eagles with Nick Sirianni.
It's the perfect example. Jalen Hurts has had 5 different offensive coordinators in 5 years.
5 years for a young quarterback, it's devastating. You're constantly learning a new system, new language, new reads.
It just grinds development to a halt. And if you can't find a good replacement, that so-called coordinator tree is bare.
Then the CEO feels like he has to take on the play calling himself, which just adds a whole new layer of pressure.
Let's shift from the theory to a team that's getting it right. Let's talk about the Houston Texans defense.
Oh man, they just put on a clinic. We saw them hold the Steelers to, 6 points, even after the Texans offense turned the ball over 3 times.
The reputation they have now is incredible. The descriptions from our sources are just so vivid.
I saw one that called them a bunch of velociraptors holding machine guns.
Another one was hyenas out there just flying and killing people. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about their style of play.
And they've got the stars to back it up. You have Danielle Hunter, who some are calling the most underrated future Hall of Famer.
And Will Anderson. He just looks like a future Defensive Player of the Year. The talent is immense.
But a ton of credit has to go to the coordinator, Matt Burke.
Right. He was the D-line coach in Arizona who made that really emotional retirement video for J.J. Watt.
Yeah, I remember that.
He took over this Texans defense when they were 0-3, and he helped turn them into one of the most feared units in the league. Just a phenomenal turnaround.
Now, the obvious criticism is, well, of course he's good. He has Anderson and Hunter.
But the counter-argument is the real gem here. Any coordinator with great players doesn't need to get all exotic and complicated.
That's the key.
Yeah, the job becomes about simplicity. Put your guys in the right position and just let their talent dominate. Burke is clearly excelling at that, obviously sharing credit with D'Amico Ryans.
Okay, so let's use that to look bigger picture at the whole organization. We need to talk about the Baltimore Ravens owner, Bisciotti.
He is, by all accounts, the gold standard for an owner. He stays out of the way, he hires good people, and then he lets them do their jobs.
He actively avoids the spotlight.
It's a perfect example of how that top-down stability helps performance. He rarely speaks in public, but when he does, our sources said it was real, legit, not some PR statement.
So it's authentic. That trickles down. It makes Baltimore place coaches want to go because they know they'll be trusted, not micromanaged.
Exactly. So let's see how this all applies at the college level. There's a huge success story happening with Cignetti at the Indiana Hoosiers.
Right. In 1 year, he's turned them into a force. And here's the kicker. He did it without a roster, stacked with 5-star recruits.
He's basically ruined things for all the other coaches who complain about not having enough talent. He is the living proof that you can win without it.
And the secret sauce seems to be in the trenches.
Absolutely. It hinges on their offensive line coach, Bob Bostad. This guy coached 7 All-Americans when he was at Wisconsin.
7? That's insane.
And it highlights a fundamental rule that really every organization should live by.
The offensive line coach and the strength coach are the first 2 hires you should make. Get them right, and everything else can fall into place.
Because the O-line coach sets the standard for physicality and toughness on every single snap. They decide if you control the game.
And the strength coach sets the culture for the entire year. 365 days a year, they are building physical and mental toughness. They're the true culture setters.
If you nail those 2 hires, you build a foundation of toughness that can make up for a talent deficit. It's a controllable factor.
You can't always get the 5-star quarterback, but you can always be tougher and more disciplined than your opponent. That wins games.
Definitely.
Now, let's just take a quick look at the philosophy of how we even get this information sports journalism itself. It's changed so much.
It really has. In the past, information was kind of monopolized by the OGs of journalism. That era is just over.
Access has been democratized, which is mostly a good thing.
I mean, it means passion and knowledge can come from anywhere now. We have a lot of respect for people doing good, thorough reporting, no matter the platform.
It's the stuff that just seems to want to ruin the enjoyment of sports. The constant outrage bait. That's what we have to push back against.
For sure. The landscape has changed, but the need for real integrity in the analysis hasn't.
And speaking of shared experience, let's tie this all back to our soccer nugget from the beginning. Specifically, the TST tournament team.
Ah, yes. So this was a team of individually great players, but they were just thrown together for a tournament.
And they struggled.
They did. Because the teams that won, like the Jamaican Reggae Rovers or a team from Texas, were full of guys who played together all the time. They had that shared history.
So even with all that individual talent, the lack of cohesion, of long-term trust, was there